friends. Thank you for joining me today here at the beautiful Salt Cave in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today is going to be a nice, strong practice, about a half an hour long as usual. The video seemed to be about a half an hour long. We're going to be building some core strength. We're going to do some nice lateral stretches to get some side body stretching in. And we're also going to be doing our strength pose for today is going to be one leg mountain into tree pose, or vice versa, a tree pose into one leg mountain. We'll get started by laying down. Let's go ahead and lay down. We're going to start in Baddha Konasana. We're going to do soles of the feet touching, heels, knees falling away from the body. And we lower down to our backs. We're going to bring our hands out in front of us and tighten up our core. And as we tighten up the core, we're going to start to lower down, as if somebody was holding onto our wrists, helping us guide our backs nice and slow down to the ground using control. Feeling into this here as we lay here in our butterfly. And now there's a tendency to overextend the C curve of the back here. So what we're going to do is we want to push the sacrum into the ground, creating a natural C curve in the body versus overextending that C curve. Allowing the knees to fall away from the body here. Closing down the eyes, and let's place one hand on the heart and the other on the belly. We'll take several breaths here in our butterfly, allowing gravity to slowly open up in the groin muscles and in the low back. Long, deep breaths all the way down to the pit of the belly, and pushing those breaths out from the pit of the belly as well, pushing the belly button to the spine. Let's take 4 more rounds of this deep, long breath. Returning to a natural breath here, keeping the eyes closed and setting our intention for our practice. Whatever it may be that brings us to our mat today, quieting down the mind. Next, inhale here. We're going to take our hands and place them on the outside of the thighs, and slowly let's guide the knees back together, relieving pressure off the groin muscles and the low back. We're going to do rolling bridge here. So knees up to the sky, feet flat on the mat. Bend your knees so much so that when your heels are as close to the glute as possible. And then we're going to place our hands down, palm facing. So arms alongside the body, palms facing down. With a big inhale, we're going to push the hips up towards the ceiling. Not extending so that the heart, we have this big hump here. We want a nice long line all the way from the chin to the knee. And then exhale as we slowly lower back down. Inhale as we push those heels into the mat, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale here, lowering back down. Starting off the new year right. Inhale, lift those hips up. And exhale, slowly release those hips back down. Coming back down here, we're going to roll over to one side, coming into a fetal position just for a moment, using this top hand, and we're going to push ourselves up into an easy seated pose for a second, and then we're going to meet at the top of the mat. Taking a seat on the heels here, we're going to open up in the chest. So big inhale. First, we're going to open up in the arms and just open like we normally do when we start. I love to start with bringing the hands back on an inhale and reaching the hands up towards the sky. Hands meet above the head, and then exhale, hands to heart center. Push those hands into one another. Inhale as we reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center here. One more time. Inhale, we're going to reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Push those hands into one another here. Bringing the hands down to our lap, we're going to open up in the heart. So bringing the hands back behind us, and we're going to interlace the fingers behind our back. Rolling the shoulders down and back, and draw the shoulder blades together with a big exhale. We're going to take those fists and we're going to place them on the outside of the left hip here. Keep drawing the elbows towards each other, and let's gaze over that right shoulder, opening up the heart and breathing. Mhm. Next, inhale here. The hands come behind the back. Release those hands and just give your shoulders a little wiggle here. Feeling into this. So nice. Taking our hands out in front of us again. And then bringing those hands back behind us. And we're going to interlace those hands again. And we're going to interlace them the opposite way. So the way that feels awkward to you. Again, slight bend in the elbows, drawing the elbows towards each other. And then on an exhale, take those fists and bring them to the right side of the hip. And gaze over the left shoulder. Feels so nice this morning. Next, exhale here. Bring those fists back behind you. Release the hands and wiggle out in the shoulders. Coming forward, we're going to come into a tabletop. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, and let's move the spine organically before we move into cat and cow. Noticing any areas in the body. You can even do protraction or retraction of the shoulders here, opening up, and tightening, drawing the shoulder blades together. Creating some space. That feels so nice. Let's find ourselves in a neutral spine and get ready for cat and cow, okay? Big inhale as we send those sit bones up towards the sky. Belly reaches down, heart pulls through, and gaze up. And then exhale as we tuck everything in, rounding in the back, rounding in the shoulders, push the ground away, chin to chest. Inhale, send those sit bones up towards the sky as the belly reaches down, heart pulls through, gazes up. And then exhale, tuck everything in, rounding in the back, rounding in the shoulders, chin to chest. Inhale, let's do this one more time. Coming into our cow pose. And then exhale, tucking everything in and push the ground away, rounding in that back, chin to chest. Really opening up that spine. Next, inhale here. We're going to come into a neutral spine, shoulders over the wrists, and let's make circles over those wrists. Feeling this nice stretch here. This feels so good. Reverse the direction. Really nice here. Finding ourselves in a neutral spine again. We're going to close the fingers up. So close the gaps up in between the fingers here. Again, always opening up the wrists before we do our down dog or any of our hand poses here or wrist poses. Let's go ahead and externally rotate those fingertips until they're facing the knees. Feeling this big stretch in the forearm, keeping the elbows nice and lengthened here. And then with an exhale, we're going to sink those hips back towards the heels and lift up the heel of the hand. Leaving the fingertips or fingertips, full finger, lengthened out on the mat here, stretching out the forearms, ooh, and the wrist here. And let's make circles with those thumbs. Going the opposite direction. Let's make circles with those thumbs as well. Mm. Next, exhale, go ahead and take a seat all the way back on the heels. Lift up the heel of the hand even more and leave only the fingertips on the mat, feeling the big stretch light up through the entire hand and into the forearms. Elbows want to buckle if they're uncomfortable here. And next exhale, let's go ahead and take a seat on those heels, bend in those elbows and open and close the hands. One finger at a time, shake it out, whatever feels good to you today. What a way to celebrate the first day of 2024 doing yoga. Feels so good to open up the body. We're going to open up the tops of the forearms now. So flip those hands over, top of the hands in line with the knee here. Keeping the arms nice and lengthened, feeling the stretch in the forearms. I really feel it here. For those of you who want, you can, what does that mean? You can sway, is what I'm trying to say, side to side, feeling the sensations light up through the entire forearm in different areas. And then if you want to challenge yourself even more, you can drag those hands up, creating more of an angle in the wrist, really lighting up the top of the forearms. Breathing here. And then next exhale, let's go ahead and take a seat back on those heels, bend in those elbows, and open and close those hands. All right, we're going to lean the body forward and we're going to come into child's pose. Bringing the forehead down to the mat here. And then what I want us to do is I want us to tippy toe those fingertips away from the body, creating more length in the shoulders and in the back. And then release the arms down. Next, inhale here. We're going to take the left hand and walk it over the right hand. And we're going to keep walking the hands over towards the right side. Left hand comes on top of the right hand. And we're going to push those hands into the ground as we glue down the left hip to the left heel. Get a nice side body stretch here. Next, inhale, let's walk those hands, right hand over left hand, all the way over towards the left side. Right hand comes on top of that left hand, and again, push those hands into the earth, gluing down that right hip to the right heel. Next, inhale here. We're going to walk the hands back towards center. And again, forehead comes down to the mat. Relaxing the forearms here. One round of breath. Next, inhale, we're going to tuck the chin to the chest and we're going to round and wave that body forward. We're coming into our first down dog. Tuck those toes. Send those hips up and back into downward facing dog. Pedaling out in our first down dog here, just feeling into our bodies, noticing if there's any areas of adhesion. And you kind of want to wiggle in the hips if you'd like to open up in the low back. Separating the scapula, creating a nice strong arm here. Grip the mat with the entire hand. Let's find one round of breath here in down dog. Next, inhale, we're going to come up to the tippy toes, tuck the chin to the chest, and we're going to wave the body forward into plank. We're coming into our modified chaturanga here. So bring the knees down and exhale as you shift the heart forward and bend in those elbows, hovering the heart above the ground. Next, exhale, lower all the way down, untuck the toes and inhale. lifting up the heart, coming into a low cobra, drawing the shoulder blades together, push the pubic bone into the mat. Next, exhale here, push the ground away, tuck those toes, and send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Big inhale here as we reach the right toes up to the sky in tripod dog, keeping the hips nice and square. Exhale as we bring the knee to the nose and we shift the body forward and we step the right foot in between the hands. Dropping the back knee down here, we're going to push that right foot into the mat. And you want to keep that knee over the ankle. Push that right foot into the mat, reaching the fingertips up to the sky in a low lunge, squaring up the hips. And what I mean by that is like scissoring those hips or bringing, right hip crease comes back and left hip crease comes forward, excuse me. And the next exhale, sink those hips down. We're going to take the right hand and we're going to place it on the right hip. And we're going to rainbow over towards the right side, reaching with the left pinky to the opposite side of the room, creating another beautiful side body stretch here. Inhale as we come back to center, fingertips reach up towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, we're going to lengthen out this front leg as we flex the front foot, coming into a half split. Shoulders draw down and back, a nice long back here, gazing forward, heart's trying to come forward as well. Hips want to come out to the right, keep them center in the mat. Or actually they want to come out to the left, so keep them in the center. Getting a nice stretch in the hamstring. Big inhale as we come back forward into a low lunge. We're going to reach the fingertips up to the sky. And then exhale as we cactus, the arms open, opening up the heart. Next exhale, go ahead and plant those hands down, push the ground away, and take a big step back into downward facing dog. Inhale as we come up to the tippy toes, tuck the chin to the chest, and we wave that body forward into plank. Exhale as you drop the knees down, shift the heart forward, bending in those elbows, coming into chaturanga. Next exhale, lower that heart down, and inhale. Draw the shoulder blades together, lifting the heart, gazes down, low cobra. Exhale here as you push the ground away, tuck those toes, and send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Big inhale as we reach the left toes back in tripod dog, keeping those hips square, so keeping the hips parallel with the ground. And exhale, knee to nose as we shift the body forward and step that left foot in between the hands. Dropping the back knee down, and on a big inhale, push that left foot into the ground as we come up into a low lunge. Feeling into this low lunge, squaring up those hips, so drawing back on that left hip crease and forward on the right, and sink those hips down. Now we're going to take this left hand and place it on the left hip, and then we're going to rainbow over towards the left side, reaching with that right pinky. Inhale here as we come up into a low lunge, and then exhale as we lengthen out this left leg and we flex this left foot, coming into a modified half split here. Feeling that stretch light up in the entire leg. Inhale, let's go ahead and come forward into a low lunge, bringing those arms up to the sky or fingers up to the sky, and then exhale as we open up the heart, cactus those arms. And then next exhale here, plant those hands down, and we're going to step back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog here, let's go ahead and do our vinyasa again. Big inhale as we come up to the tippy toes, we tuck the chin to the chest, and we wave that body forward into plank. Exhale as we drop the knees down, shift the heart forward, and bend in those elbows, coming into chaturanga. Exhale as you lower the heart down, and inhale, lifting up into a low cobra. Exhale here as you push the ground away. You're going to tuck those toes and send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale as we come up to the tippy toes, bend in the knees, and we're going to take a big step forward, feet in between the hands, and forward fold. Inhale as we halfway lift, crown of the head reaches forward, and then exhale, fold. Planting those feet, we're going to push them into the ground. We're going to come to standing, keeping the chin tucked to the chest, arms are heavy. Inhale as we reach the arms back and up. And exhale here, hands to heart center. Coming into our balance pose here, we're going to plant all the weight into this left foot. So plant all the weight into your left foot, very little weight in the right leg. We're going to come into our tree pose. So big inhale. As we inhale, we're going to lift up that right ankle and place it where we can on our left leg, either on the inner thigh, the calf, or we're going to kickstand it. Inhale as you reach the fingertips up to the sky. Feeling into our tree pose, swaying in the wind maybe. And then next exhale here, we're going to release this right leg and we're going to step it off back behind us to the left side of the mat. Grab for that right wrist and slightly rainbow over towards the left side. Nice dancer stretch here. Big inhale here as we push that left foot into the ground. We're coming back to center. We're going to bring that right knee with us in a 90-degree angle. And then next exhale here, heart is going to come forward and we're going to take a big step to the back of the mat, tucking those back toes and coming into crescent lunge. Feeling into this beautiful stretch here. Next exhale, let's plant those hands down and take a big step back. Downward facing dog. Inhale here as we come up to the tippy toes, tuck the chin to the chest, and we wave that body forward into plank. Exhale as we drop the knees down, shift the heart forward and bend in those elbows, chaturanga. Next exhale, lower down, and inhale, lift up that heart, back of the neck nice and long. Exhale here, push the ground away, tuck those toes, send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale as we come up to the tippy toes, bend in the knees, and we're going to take a big step forward, feet in between the hands, and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, crown of the head reaches forward. Give yourself a little wiggle in the booty. And exhale, fold. Relaxing the neck and the head. Next, inhale with a bend in the knees. We're going to push those feet into the ground as we come up to standing. Slowly lengthening up the spine. Chin is tucked, arms are heavy. Inhale as we reach those fingertips up to the sky. And exhale here, hands to heart center. Preparing for tree pose on this other side. So we're going to place all the weight into the right leg. Spread those toes nice and wide. With an inhale, we're going to lift up that left ankle and place it where we can on the right leg. Next inhale, reach those fingertips up to the sky. Feeling strong in your tree here. And then with your next exhale, we're going to release this left leg and step it off back behind us to the right side. Grab for that left wrist and rainbow slightly over towards the right. Beautiful dancer stretch. Next inhale here, we're going to come back to center and we're going to bring that left knee with us, fingertips up to the sky in one leg mountain. Next exhale, we're going to bring the heart slightly forward as we take a step back with that left foot coming into crescent lunge. Next exhale here, we're going to plant those hands down and we're going to take a big step back, downward facing dog. And let's do our vinyasa one last time. Big inhales, we tuck the chin in the chest, wave that body forward into plank. Exhale here as we bring the knees down, shift the heart forward and bend in those elbows and hover that heart, chaturanga. Next exhale, lower down. Inhale, draw those shoulder blades together, lift up that heart, low cobra. And then next exhale here, we're going to push the ground away and we're going to push back into child's pose. Breathing here in our child. Really nice. This feels good. Next, inhale. Let's slowly drag those hands back. We're going to come to seated on our heels, and I want us to really round in the back, chin to chest. And as you drag those hands back, you can feel it stretch in between the scapula. Feels so nice. Once the hips are on the heels, I want us to inhale and start to lengthen up the spine, stacking the vertebra one at a time. Oh, I just love the way that feels. It's an amazing feeling. Next, exhale here. We're going to shift the hips over to one side or the other, and the legs are going to come out in front. Lengthening up the legs here, or not the legs. We're going to lengthen the left leg here. We're going to do a seated tree pose, or Janu Sirsasana, which means forehead to knee pose here. So our legs are in tree pose here. The torso is going to come over this left leg. Left foot is flexed, and we're going to inhale as we reach the fingertips up to the sky. Your next exhale here, we're going to fold forward, leading with the heart. You might be up here just like this if you're tight in your hamstrings, keeping the back nice and long. We don't want to round in the shoulders. And a nice long back here as the heart comes forward. Wherever you can reach in your pose here. On your next exhale, let's go ahead and relax the neck and the head. Settling into your stretch. Next, inhale here. Let's release that foot. Push those hands into the mat. Come up to seated. And we're going to take a twist over towards the right. Plant the right hand down. We're going to plant the right knee down. And on a big inhale, we're going to lift the hips up towards the sky, coming into stargazer pose. Heart is coming up, gaze is up. Next exhale here, sink those hips down. And let's do the other side. Lengthening out the right leg here. Bending in the left knee, left foot on the inner part of the thigh. Flex that right foot. Inhale as we reach the fingertips up to the sky. And exhale, leading with the heart, folding at the hips and finding our stretch. Keeping a nice long straight back here, heart trying to reach those toes. And whenever you find your stretch, go ahead and relax the neck and the head. Feels so nice this morning. Next, exhale, release that foot and slowly inhale as we come back to seated. Coming into stargazer pose again, we're going to plant the left foot, left knee, plant the left hand back behind you, and inhale as you lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Coming into stargazer pose. And exhale here, slowly release those hips down. We're going to come down to our backs here. Let's give ourselves a nice little hug. Oh, this feels so nice. And then slowly holding onto the knees, let's bring the back down nice and slow. Oh, my goodness. Feels so good this morning. So needed. We're going to take a supine twist. Just go ahead and lengthen out the left leg. You can T out the arms, you can Y out the arms, whatever feels good to you. But on your next exhale, we're going to bring that right knee and roll that hip over towards the left side. Now your right shoulder wants to come up, so push that left bicep into the ground so that your shoulders stay glued down, and gaze over that right shoulder. It will lift up that right knee a little bit, but that's okay. And we're just targeting our lumbar. Noticing in areas of the body where you can relax and melt. Next inhale, let's come back to center. Bend in the left knee and lengthen out the right leg. Big exhales, we twist over towards the right, pushing that right bicep into the ground so we can glue down the left shoulder and gaze over the left shoulder here. Next inhale here, we're going to come back to center nice and slow. Lengthening out the left leg here, allowing the feet to fall naturally apart. We're going to bring those arms alongside the body, palms facing up, or one hand on the heart, or the other on the belly. Draw your shoulder blades together slightly to create a cradle for that heart. And then just melt into the floor, relaxing everything, relaxing every joint, closing down the eyes, focusing on softening up in the face, softening in between the eyebrows, the eyelids, the bottom jaw. And let's find stillness here for a few minutes. Bringing ourselves back to this present moment, noticing the breath, starting to make small movements in the body. Wiggle the fingers and the toes first. Allow the movement to grow up the body. Mm. Keeping the eyes heavy or closed. We're going to bend in those knees, knees up to the sky, feet flat on the mat. And then we're going to roll over to one side, coming into a fetal position just for a moment. With the top hand, press it into the mat. And we're going to slowly return to an easy cross-legged pose, Sukhasana. Hands come to heart center here. As we lengthen up the spine. And we ask and tell ourselves, thank you. Thank you for being patient with yourself. Mm. Thank yourself for showing up today. We're asking for a beautiful 2024 for all our dreams to come true. Mm. Slowly flutter open those eyes. Mm. And say, Jesus loves you so much. Gave you this beautiful body to stretch in, beautiful body to embrace. And don't be afraid. There is nothing evil about yoga. Yoga is everything beautiful comes from Him. And remember that always. Don't ever question or doubt yourself. You're bringing beautiful life and flexibility and range of motion into your body, building strength. That's what you were given this beautiful, beautiful body to do. When you're healthy, you can help other people to become healthy. So thank you, friends, for joining me in this beautiful new year, 2024. I'm so excited to see what things happen. I'm going to rest in His presence and notice that the miracles that unwind when I rest and not rush it. So we'll see what happens. I'll be teaching a yin yoga class at the Salt Cave here on January 13th on a Saturday from 8:45 to 10 o'clock in the morning. If you'd like to join me, I have 4 slots left. So if you're here in Albuquerque, let's practice live. If you like my video, please leave me some comments down below. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You guys have a beautiful, blessed day, and I'll see you next week. Take care.